What if everything you believe online isn't actually a choice, but a piece of code written 150 years ago?
That is a terrifying way to start a Saturday, Seth. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Haanaan Wins. I am feeling incredibly electric today. The storm from the other night has finally cleared, leaving this weird, bright, high-pressure stillness. It's wonderful to be back in the studio, even if I'm a little bit caffeinated.
I'm dialed in from home today, just enjoying the quiet of my study. It's a bit of a peaceful contrast to the chaos in the wires lately. Did you see the news about the blue marlin? Over 1,200 pounds caught off the East Coast.
Honestly, I'm still stuck on the capybaras in Brazil, just chilling while the legislature crashes around them. I need that level of zen for my yoga practice. I am, however, a little bummed that Paco and Jane aren't here to witness the marlin or the capybaras.
Paco is currently deep in a ritualistic argument with a local tarot enthusiast about whether certain cards are trending, and Jane is busy investigating the structural integrity of that new ballroom project in DC. She says if she's going to analyze architecture, she's going to do it properly.
So, no comedy and no reality checks for us today. Just us and the books.
Exactly. And today we're stepping away from the digital noise to look at the man who actually built the blueprint for modern belief. We're diving into Christopher McIntosh's Eliphas Levi, the revival of French occultism.
We're looking at Levi as the original engineer, the man who took fragmented folklore and turned it into a structured, programmable system, like the first true architect of a spiritual algorithm.
Let's open the archives and see how he coded the occult. So, I've got the text open. We're looking at the preface and introduction by McIntosh. And before we even get to the meat of it, he sets the stage. He talks about how occult movements are like groundwater.
Groundwater? That's a heavy image.
Right. He says they move beneath the surface of history, and occasionally they just burst through. And when they do, they wash up strange and exotic fish onto the shore.
Well, I hope we aren't the exotic fish today, but I love that. It implies that the weird stuff isn't an accident, it's just part of the natural flow of what's already there, just hidden.
Exactly. And he identifies our fish for today as Alphonse Louis Constant, better known as Eliphas Levi. But look how he frames the context. He's talking about this massive, fertile, esoteric dawn in France. He's listing names. Papus, Peladon, these figures that built this whole ecosystem.
It's like he's describing a software update for the entire culture of the time. Like, the old folklore was the legacy code, and Levi came in to rewrite the architecture.
That's exactly the angle we're taking. And speaking of architecture, look at what he says about Levi's actual writing style. This is where it gets messy. McIntosh admits that Levi's manuscripts were, an inspired but often careless flow.
Wait, so he wasn't some organized scholar?
Not at all. He says the books are often incoherent, wordy, poorly structured, and riddled with errors. He basically says Levi just let it out. He didn't even bother to proofread.
That is so frustrating. I mean, I love a good flow state. You think you know that from my writing sessions, but if I turned in a book of magic that was just a typo-ridden stream of consciousness, I'd be in trouble.
Yeah, but that's the thing. McIntosh argues that despite the mess, the ideas were so powerful, so revolutionary, that they stuck. They were captivating enough to survive the lack of editing.
It's like a viral meme. It doesn't matter if the grammar is bad. If the concept hits, it spreads.
Precisely. And that brings us to the most famous piece of code Levi left behind. McIntosh brings up the Baphomet illustration.
Oh man, the goat with the weird features. Everyone thinks that's just, straight up satanic.
Right, and McIntosh is very careful to correct that. He says it's often mistakenly interpreted as a satanic image. He claims that Baphomet is actually a symbol of the balance of opposites. It's a visual equation. You've got the masculine and feminine, the earthly and the celestial, all mapped out.
So it's not a demon, it's a diagram.
Exactly. Look at the details he points out. The goat represents the dense earthly nature, but it has angelic wings for the heavenly. It has a female breast, but a male phallus. He even mentions the solve and coagula written on the hands.
Solve and coagula. Dissolve and coagulate. That sounds so much more scientific. Like a chemical process.
That's the point. He's using these symbols to explain how to work with what he calls astral light. He describes this light as an invisible, all-pervading fluid that can be imprinted with thoughts.
So, like a cosmic cloud storage?
Honestly, that's a perfect way to put it. A medium where everything can be recorded. And the whole trick, according to Levi, is using the balance of these opposites to manipulate that medium.
It's wild. He's taking these ancient heavy concepts and turning them into something that feels almost programmable.
He really is. And it's even more interesting when you see how people distorted it later. McIntosh points out how a later artist, Oswald Wirth, took that same Baphomet and turned it into a grotesque caricature of the devil, changing the hands and the wings.
So the algorithm was corrupted by bad updates.
Precisely. The original code was about balance, but the later versions turned it into pure horror. Okay, moving into the actual text now. We're in chapter 1, titled The Revival of Magic, and man, McIntosh doesn't waste time. He starts with this absolute legend.
Let me guess, another exotic fish from the groundwater?
Exactly. He tells this story from a French countess's memoirs about a man named the Count of Saint George or Saint-Germain. This guy shows up in 1720s Paris, and he's such a main character. He speaks every language, plays the piano like a master, paints with brilliant color effects, and wears diamonds on literally everything. His shoes, his snuff boxes, his watches.
Okay, so he's basically the 18th century version of an influencer with a massive, mysterious budget.
Right. And here's the kicker, the part that makes him feel like a glitch in the Matrix. The Countess meets him, and she remembers seeing him 50 years prior. She says, "The Saint Germain I knew was 45, and you look exactly the same age right now."
No way.
He just smiles and says, "Madam, I am very old." And she basically calls him the devil because he's clearly not aging.
That is such a vibe. It's that classic immortal wanderer trope. But wait, does the author take this at face value?
Not at all. He uses it to make a much bigger point. He says that even though this was a rational, ultra-rational France, the human mind cannot tolerate a lack of a rational belief. He says nature abhors a vacuum, and so does the human psyche. When the old religious structures started to crack, people were desperate for new, colorful myths.
So the algorithm of belief was searching for new inputs because the old ones were failing?
Exactly, and he links this to the social chaos. He mentions that the occult revival happened when the old order was literally tearing at the seams right around the French Revolution. He compares it to the instability in Rome during the time of Julius Caesar. When the political structure breaks, the spiritual structure goes wild.
It makes sense. If you don't know where you stand with the government, you start looking for answers in the stars or in secret societies.
Wait, hold on. I'm having a bit of a technical issue here. My headset it's cutting out. 1 second.
Oh, it went totally silent for a second. Are you okay?
Okay, let me grab the spare one from my desk. I think the battery's dying. Okay, how's this? Can you hear me?
Crystal clear. You didn't lose your Scholar magician aura there.
Barely. Anyway, where was I? Right, the chaos. McIntosh says the most strange fish to come on out of this period actually came from Freemasonry.
Because that's where the real coding was happening. The structure, the lodges, the hierarchy.
Right. He says the most interesting part of the 19th century occult scene was almost entirely a product of the Masonic movement. And he introduces another heavy hitter, Martinez de Pasquale.
Oh, I recognize that name from our previous notes. The founder of the Order of Knight Mason Elect Priests, right?
Yes, and his backstory is just as murky as Saint Germain's. People claimed he was a Spanish Jew or a traveler from the East who learned magic in Egypt or China. But look at what McIntosh says about his actual method. He wasn't just sitting around reading books. He was performing rituals that were part Catholic Mass, part Renaissance magic.
That sounds intense.
It was. He believed he was communicating with celestial beings. He even claimed he could heal his wife through magic. But the most chilling part is the story of a priest named Fournier. He was in the middle of a massive religious crisis, totally lost his faith, and then he meets Pasquale.
And let me guess, Pasquale gives him the patch for his crisis?
Precisely. The text says Pasquale told him, "You should come and see us. You will open a book, look at the first page, then the middle, then the end, and you will know everything it contains." And then he points to people walking on the street and tells the priest, "These people don't know why they walk, but you will know why you walk."
Oh, wow. That is incredibly predatory and incredibly seductive at the same time. It's like being offered the source code to reality.
It's the hook. And McIntosh follows this with the actual mechanics of these rituals. They involved 11-hour fasts, specific planetary alignments, and drawing circles on the floor.
It's all so physical, so much more visceral than just thinking positive thoughts.
Exactly. They were trying to manipulate the astral light through physical discipline. It's very much the engineering we talked about at the start. They were trying to program the unseen. Okay, we're moving deeper into the manual now. We've talked about the why, the social chaos, the need for new myths, but now McIntosh starts describing the how. And honestly, Emily, if you saw this on a TikTok ritual aesthetic video, you'd think it was a movie set.
Oh, I am so here for a cinematic ritual. What are we talking about? Candles and incense?
Much more. He's describing a specific method used by the Order of the Elect Cohen. It's incredibly sensory. The adept carries the small clay dish of warm coals, and they're dropping this specific heavy mixture onto them. We're talking saffron, frankincense, sulfur, white and black poppy seeds, cloves, cinnamon, mastic, even mushroom spores.
That is a lot of ingredients. That's a whole olfactory assault. It sounds like they were trying to create a physical atmosphere so thick you could almost touch it.
Exactly. And the uniform is just as intense. Black shirt, black pants, black stockings. But then they layer on this long white robe with red edges, a blue ribbon, a black ribbon, a red sash, and a green sash.
It sounds like a very high-stakes version of a color-coded organization chart.
Right? But then the actual programming starts. He describes this massive floor drawing a complex geometric sector with a triangle, a circle, a sanctuary circle. And the instructions for the ritual are so precise, it's almost like a script.
Like a command mine?
Exactly. You have to start at midnight, precisely at the 12 strokes of the clock. You take your shoes off, you move a candle, you lie face down for 6 minutes, and then you start reciting these names, repeating them 3 times each, using this specific formula. In whichever day I shall invoke thee, hear me swiftly.
Hear me swiftly. That is such a desperate, beautiful plea. It's more than, hey, let me know you're there. It's respond now, because the window is closing.
And it's more than just calling something in. He shows the other side of the code. There's this work of the equinox where they actually command demons. He quotes this terrifying address to Satan, Beelzebub, Leviathan, calling them mighty beings of lawlessness, disorder, and abomination.
Okay, that escalated quickly. We went from saffron and cinnamon to I bind you in your terrible abode very fast.
It's intense. But, and this is the part that ties back to everything we said earlier, McIntosh makes a crucial distinction. He says the goal wasn't to summon specific spirits for personal gain. He quotes Arthur Edward Waite saying the whole point was much higher, to establish a connection with what Pasquale called the active and intelligent cause.
So it wasn't about summoning a demon to do my laundry. It was about resyncing with the source code of the universe.
Precisely. They were trying to bypass the individual ego to hit the primary driver of reality. But, of course, the user agreement for this connection was incredibly strict.
Let me guess, no meat?
Close, no blood, no fat, no kidneys of any animal, and specifically, no eating the flesh of domestic pigeons. And they had to practice sexual abstinence and extreme self-control. It was a high-maintenance way to live.
I mean, if you want to talk to the active and intelligent cause, I guess you can't exactly be living a life of total indulgence. You have to be optimized.
That's a great way to put it, optimized. And this leads us to the next big figure in the text, Antoine-Joseph Pernety. If Pasquale was the architect, Pernety was the one who took these heavy, complex rituals and turned them into a widespread mythology.
The guy who believed all ancient myths were just allegories for Hermetic principles?
Exactly. He looked at Egypt and Greece and saw a highly hidden layer of instruction beneath the stories. He even created his own Hermetic ceremony with 6 different degrees of initiation, things like Knight of the Golden Key and Knight of the Golden Fleece.
It's so much more organized than the careless flow of Levi. He's building these distinct, tiered levels of access.
Right, and it was all based on alchemy. He used symbols like a burning star, a moon, and a sun to represent the stages of decomposition, purification, and finally, the red substance, the source of everything good. It's all very structured.
It's like he was building a ladder, one rung at a time, through different levels of esoteric knowledge.
And the wildest part? The lore doesn't end with the books. McIntosh tells this story about a priest, Fournier, who was literally haunted by the ghosts of his dead mentors and parents. He claimed he heard the voice of the deceased Pasquale speaking to him through a closed door, even though the man had been dead for 2 years.
That is genuinely creepy. That's a full-on haunting.
It is. It's the exotic fish surfacing in the most unsettling way possible. It really shows that for these people, the veil wasn't just thin, it was practically non-existent. They were living in a world where the past was constantly, loudly, walking through the garden.
All this talk of ghosts is making me jittery. I need to move my body for a second, or I'm going to start looking over my shoulder.
Agreed. Let's take a quick breather and grab some water before we get too deep into the Avignon shadows.